Alright, hello, I'm Stephen Sadler. I've been reading to you from my book, Money and Power, The Secret History, and we've been talking about the Bushes. We started going back to George Herbert Walker Bush's grandfather, who was Samuel Bush, who was involved in the beginning of the Federal Reserve, banking, shipping, steel, again, partners with the Rockefellers, the Harrimans, and marrying into the Walker family. The son of Prescott Bush and Dorothy Walker was George Bush Sr., George Herbert Walker Bush. So he took the name of his grandfather from his mother's side and added Samuel Bush, the Bush family name. So both those names are important because the Walkers were heavy investors. They were both very involved in banking and in oil. George Bush Sr. is best known for being a senator. He was director of the Central Intelligence Agency. He was our 41st president. During World War II, I believe he was the youngest aviator to be shot down over the Pacific. So he's a hero. He's a patriot. In his heart, he must love this country very much. Oil drilling was one of his first areas he got into. He started working for Dresser Industries, which was an investment of the Brown brothers, which his family had interest in. So he worked for the family, so to speak, kind of cutting his teeth out in the field. Then he became the president of the Bush-Oberle Oil Company in 1951. In 1953, they started Zapata Petroleum with his father-in-law, George Herbert Walker, drilling in the Permian Basin in Texas. And that's why the Bush family moves from Connecticut and Ohio into Texas and then later Florida. But they came to Texas because they're oil magnates drilling in the Permian Basin. Zapata was named after the movie with Marlon Brando named Viva Zapata. It had just come out, so they liked the name, so they took it as the name of their oil company. And they also later created Zapata Offshore. In 1963, they merged Zapata with South Pennsylvania Oil, South Penn Motor Oil, remember? And it became South Pennsylvania Zapata Oil, or Pennzoil. So Pennzoil, which we've all heard of from its brand on the the motor oil and so forth, it's a merger between Rockefeller's Pennsylvania Oil Company and the Zapata Oil Company in Texas. A lot of people don't realize that. They also, in 1964, were contracted, became one of the biggest drillers in Kuwait. How many Americans know that? That Bushers have interests in oil drilling in Kuwait, in the Middle East. And Zapata Offshore had drilling rights all along Latin American coast, including Nicaragua, interestingly enough. Matter of fact, General Russell Brown states that Zapata oil was used as a cover for the CIA in Cuba during the Bay of Pigs invasion. Two of the ships that were used were called the Barbara J and the Houston. Of course, Barbara J is Bush's wife, and the company was based out of Houston, and so they named their tankers. Matter of fact, the CIA called the Operation Zapata, so it ties in directly to the Bush family. Colonel Powney once testified in front of the Congress saying that Operation Zapata used the Zapata oil tankers in the operation. So we see the Bush family also involved in Bay of Pigs and CIA operations all the way back to Cuba. CIA officer Crowley and Corison both point out Bush as an asset of the CIA back then, and so did J. Edgar Hoover in 1963. But you don't ever hear this in the press, do you? You can look all this up on the internet. It's not from conspiracy theory books. You go to the actual documents. Hearings are recorded. And finally, Zapata oiled other partners involved, Hugh and Bill Leakey and Tom Dillon. All these guys were part of the Central Intelligence Agency. So it's pretty obvious it was being used as a CIA cover. And that's okay. Maybe that's good that they did that, but a lot of sneaky things happened. It's important that you see the background to see how these assets have been misused by people for personal gain, not just for protecting the interest of the people of the United States.